If we're all to come together, sorry, and we were to just unite and fish out and flesh out and work on our challenges.
Let's look at even the population. Let's look at that one. I see that was a problem. Then if we flip it around, it can become a solution. That now we have over 200 million people that need to eat. Somebody might ask, but what are they going to eat? That becomes a business opportunity for you, that you are going to have to provide food now for over 200 million people. Then somebody can say, okay, I'm going to do the transportation.
And this is why I invest in myself over here. I believe in investing in self is important. And my coach sat me down and chiseled out and helped me understand all of the gifts and talents that I have. And I changed my narrative. I changed my course of direction. You and I were just talking a while ago that I'm in politics, and just really talking about what I do and the major part I play in politics, although I don't talk about it a lot, but behind the scenes. But that was self-discovery. That was recognizing, oh my God, as a speaker, as a writer, as a script writer, I can actually write script for members of parliament. As a script writer, as a storyteller, I can help politicians weave stories. And so I do strategic work behind the scenes in politics.
Hi, and thank you for checking out Obehi podcast. We encourage people to own their story and share it with the world to expand their purpose. Before we start this presentation, I have something to quickly share with you. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract your ideal client by leveraging your own story? Then pay attention. I have a signature program that can help you own your story. A 5-step transformative journey to reshape your professional and business narrative for success in less than 90 days. And it's available at academy.aclasses.org/story. This is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument known to man. And this is what that could mean to you. You can either own your story and use it to advance your purpose in your business and professional life, or someone else will do. The choice is yours. Now let's get started with today's episode of the Obehi podcast.
Good morning, Dr. Ava Brown here. I like having these conversations because it shows, one, that I'm a multipreneur, but two, I hope it encourages and empowers somebody to think differently and outside the box.
Absolutely. That is why we're here. And we're talking about how to keep businesses within the community and do more businesses among ourselves as African Diaspora, because we are hundreds of millions of people in the diaspora. There is no way we cannot do businesses among ourselves, which is what we are sharing today with Dr. Ava Brown. So to start with, what do you see as opportunity of us being able to work together as a people and keep more money in the diaspora? Please share with us.
Thank you. I think that's such a great question. I think that if we do business within the diaspora community, it offers such a unique perspective for us to connect with individuals who share a common heritage. Because let's face it, we're all from the same heritage and our interests. And so by doing that, it really creates this new cultural landscape where we have a stronger foundation because A, we understand each other, B, we're the same genetics, and then we can trust each other and have common goals. So I really believe that if we start building genuine relationship and trust and start doing business together, I think that I call it the Black Pound is going to get stronger and we are going to rule the world. That's what I believe.
All right. Now, I want to believe that some people in the diaspora. This could be in the US or in the UK or right there in Jamaica. Why not? So I also want to believe that maybe some of them have shared some challenges with you, which is if we are not doing enough what we are supposed to be doing, there must be something that is in our place. So what are some of the challenges you see about doing businesses together as people of African descent?
I think you guys are going to hate me for this. The first thing that comes across, even when I think about it, from my perspective, because I've tried and I still do, because a lot of my team, as you know, and you actually had a conversation with one of my team members. So I do business in the diaspora, but gingerly so more now than before. I'm the girl who's very African, and so I jump out there. I'm a nappy head girl. I wear African attire. I was married to a Nigerian, but I've always seen myself as African, and so I was always the one who wanted us to jump in, dive in, and work together. But then trust becomes a big factor. I think one of our biggest issues in the diaspora is trusting each other. And let me just pause to say that for a larger part, some people who don't trust each other have good reasons for that. I have been burnt a lot by our people. I lost $100,000 and became homeless almost in England because Black people conned me out of $100,000 US. I've also tried to do business on LinkedIn with Black people, and they have been unscrupulous. And I'm not saying this is all Black people, but I had a really bad experience recently where somebody on LinkedIn tried to steal my brand. I struggled to get my intellectual property. I had to even get my lawyer involved, and so forth and so on. And so the biggest issue we have with each other is trust. Having said that, I have a team in Nigeria, I have a team in the UK, and I have a team in Jamaica. So I do business in the diaspora, but not as much as I'd love to. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Ava Brown. I like the courage that you have to be able to challenge what we are seeing. We, the African diaspora or African descent, are the one who should try more to solve the problem. So that, for example, in your case now, even though you have had maybe some challenges, some people maybe reaping you of your benefit, you still remain in the diaspora doing businesses with other people, including maybe doing businesses with people in Nigeria, which I believe is actually a kind of an encouragement to other people that sometimes it might not turn out the way you want it, but you don't need to lose hope, because this is our problem to face. This is our challenges to face. Nobody is coming to solve the problem for us. The problem that we have now, of course, talking about the lack of trust, we must look for a way to identify where is it coming from.
I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I know where it comes from. I can give you my opinion. But before I answer that, one of the young man I work with, Sunny, he's in Abuja, amazing young man. And when I'm going to show you how it happens, for example, I hope you're still there. When I was doing Black River Film Festival this year, I reached out to somebody, introduced me to a Nigerian young lady on LinkedIn. She showed up and she wasn't honest about her deliverables. But then I said to her, I'm trying to find a designer. And she then said, I'm going to show you how we don't trust. And then she said to me, oh, I have a designer, but if you're going to work with him, he's going to charge you more if I introduce you to him. So I said, I want to talk to him myself. So right away, I started mistrusting her because she doesn't want the designer to talk to me. She wants to control the transaction. And I said to her, but I don't mind. Let me pay more. I want to talk to him. When I spoke to him, I didn't even tell him this until when we started working together. He didn't charge me more. He was so decent. She didn't end up working with me because she just was not reliable, trustworthy. That designer is still with me today. And I have actually been working with him since December last year, I think it was. And he doesn't just work on my brands. He works on my political things, my member of parliament things. So I'm elevating his profile. He can now walk away and say, I work for a member of parliament. I work for Black River Film Festival. And he turned out to be amazing, but the gatekeeper was shutting her out. So again, trust. So I think it comes from a number of reasons. I think, and I'm not being disrespectful, I think from an African, oh my God, you guys are going to eat my head for this. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to be eaten, but it's okay. And I'm going to say this very carefully with a disclaimer. When I worked in the bank in England, I never forget that certain Black passports, we're always told to take them to the manager first before we do any transactions. I'm paraphrasing to say that there's a mistrust globally. So I think it comes from probably overpopulation in Africa. I don't want to say, because I think it's probably overpopulation. I think it's the crab in the barrel mentality. It probably even comes from the plantations when, slaves were trying to get free. So everybody wanted to please the backer master. I don't know where it comes from. It could come from scarcity and lack mindset, but I know that it exists and it is destroying us. And it is stopping and hampering certain opportunities that our people need to get. So I think it's a combination of those things. But where do you think it comes from? Because I think it's overpopulation. I think in Nigeria, for example, there are so many people that everybody's competing for the same opportunities. I think it's also lack of opportunities. I think is also crab in the barrel mentality. What do you think it is? Because that's what I think. And I don't want anybody to have a go. I'm just speaking in my mind based on my international travels experience and living abroad and experiencing people in the diaspora and how we flex. Because when I deal with an American, I mean, it still exists, but it's not as raw as when I deal with an African person. That's my take.
Overpopulation? Well, I don't know. But anyway, I don't want us to debate it because we are not here to debate. But I think we are actually underpopulated as a matter of fact. Looking at the
You think we're underpopulated?
Yeah. Looking at our land space.
Nigeria has over 200 million people.
No, looking at Africa as a continent and looking at the space that perhaps if you go to Nigeria, looking at Nigeria, for example, you will travel several acres. You will not see anything inside. These are just land and land and land.
Yes.
So, you mean, tell me.
Concentrated, like in Abuja and Lagos and Lekki Island and all those places, that's where the hustle comes in, because they're concentrated in certain areas. So we're not saying the land mass is overpopulated. We're saying where people concentrate is overpopulated. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. That is a point. That is a point to that. But I think that maybe if people were to, how do I put that? Maybe if everybody is doing the same thing, we might have a challenge. But there are a lot of things. Life is very dynamic, really, in the sense that we don't all need to do the same thing. Because otherwise, people like those that are living in the United States with over 300 million people, they will definitely have nothing to do. Or maybe you go to China or India with the billions of people, it will be kind of problematic for them. But everybody still need to have something to do. But actually, what I'm looking at now is that let's look at even the population. Let's look at that one. I see that was a problem. Then if we flip it around, it can become a solution. That now we have over 200 million people that need to eat. Somebody might ask, but what are they going to eat? That becomes a business opportunity for you, that you are going to have to provide food now for over 200 million people. Then somebody can say, okay, I am going to do the transportation for over 200 million people, so that problem but initially becomes a solution.
You know, but you know that it doesn't work like that. You know, I'll give an example. I have an idea that I just came up with, and I'm not going to go into the detail because if the person listening, they know it's them. And I came up with the idea just recently, just since July. And this person's in the space all along. And then yesterday, the person sent me to ask me, Ava, how much do you charge for X? Something that I've implemented, I am doing. They're in the creative space all of these years. They have all the creative experience, but they never thought about it before. And the moment I start doing it, suddenly a penny drop for them. And they have the cheek to come to me. And what I decided to do from the person, I'm putting back. Because I see you, boo-boo. Do you understand? I see, this is somebody I'm working with. I was about to take major steps with. And you start stealing my ideas. And have the nerve to come to me to ask me, how much would I charge for X? Because you're dealing with somebody from Y. But you've not been doing this all of these years. You just start doing it since you see me doing it. So, yes, there are 2 million people and 200 million people. And yes, there are opportunities that should be had. But a lot of them don't see it that way. A lot of us don't want to think. We don't want to be creative. And I do book writing. And I see a lot of people coming to me. I've had people come to me, Black people, come to me with the same book title that their friends have come to me with in secret, wanting to write the same book. Where were you? Did you not have the idea a long time to write your own book? And if you did, why do you want to come and write the same title as your friend? So some of that is envy, jealousy, laziness, lack of creativity as well, actually. Sometimes it's lack of creativity and lack of being able to think for yourself. And because you see Obehi doing it, and he's slaying it, or you think he's slaying it, you're going to do the same thing. I'm just being real.
Thank you so much for that. I remember a book I read a couple of years ago. That book had really remained very important for me. I continue to remember it when I'm, of course, within the business area. The book is titled The Science of Getting Rich by Walter Wollans. And Walter Wollans was saying in the book that you never need to compete because there is a lot for us in the universe. There is a lot for us in Verona, where I live. There is a lot for us in the diaspora, which is where all of us live. There is a lot in Jamaica, for example. So that, for example, when I was designing my signature program, which is actually about owning your story so that you can use it in your business, I say, if you find yourself competing, it's because you haven't known your story, or at least you haven't owned it. Because if you own your story, there is nobody that can compete with you. No, there is no other person like you in the universe. You can always have 360-degree spin to the story. Of course, there are many people who will never know their story. They don't know why they are even doing what they are doing. So that the only matrix that they have is maybe what they hear other people saying. How many people like me, for example? But it shouldn't have to be like that. It should be like, what are you showing up for? I don't know if that should even make any sense to you, Avad.
It does. I think when you know who you be in the world, and I say that a lot, not who you are, but who you be. When you know who you be in the world, then you show up differently. A lot of people have not bothered, and this is why I say investing in yourself is very good, because I was a trained teacher when I went to London. I was a teacher. That's what I went there to do. That's all I did. And I was writing my book in the background. And then I had a coach. And this is why I invest in myself, Obehi. I believe in investing in self is important. And my coach sat me down and chiseled out and helped me understand all of the gifts and talents that I have. And I changed my narrative. I changed my course of direction. You and I were just talking a while ago that I'm in politics, and just really talking about what I do and the major part I play in politics, although I don't talk about it a lot, but behind the scenes. But that was self-discovery. That was recognizing, oh my God, as a speaker, as a writer, as a script writer, I can actually write scripts for members of parliament. As a script writer, as a storyteller, I can help politicians weave stories. And so I do strategic work behind the scenes in politics. I'm front-facing sometimes. So some days I'm the member of parliament, and some days I go and represent him. And I'm sitting in his shoes. And when I go on the podiums and wherever I'm speaking, I'm bringing greetings on behalf of him. And it's because I understand who I am, and I understand my story, and I own it, and I own my tonality and my voice and my power. And I think when we know those bits about us, when you sit down, like I sit down and have so many ideas now about things I want to do. We're about to start a podcast. I'm about to start a podcast with two girls in South Africa. Powerful podcast. And it was just me sitting down one day and thinking, hold on, why is this not happening for me? And I had a conversation with a movie director, and I'm like, yo, because that's what they say in South Africa. Yo, can you do something? And she's like, my sister, that's not happening. I'm like, okay. Then I had a girlfriend in Canada, and she had the same problem. I'm like, okay, hold on a bit. There's a problem here, my woman. So we have a podcast we're going to discuss tomorrow that we're going to be launching in November. And that was just because I'm fuming with ideas. I have so many business ideas. I wish I could find people across the diaspora who I feel I can trust to actually join forces and create businesses and interconnect. I just became a part of the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce. I sitting on as a director, and I'm excited about that because that is going to change the narrative. So I'm willing, but I really need to be able to trust people. And I know some people might think, oh my God, you don't trust me. It's not that. It's just that you've been burnt, and I have a person on LinkedIn right now who's going through legal battles with one of ourselves because the person worked with them and was dishonest. Come on, we have to stop this. Because if we work together as a people, there is so much for us to gain. There's cross-cultural activities. There are partnerships and community influences that we can get. We can open doors for each other. It's like we can form a sorority. So we have to start thinking about how do we foster and bridge these links so that we can benefit. Because I know that, for example, I'm having a film festival in February. I would love some little girls from Africa and boys from Africa to fly to Jamaica or submit their films. Who do you talk to? I don't know. Who do I talk to get this? Do we have the interest? Some people might not even have the interest because in their minds, Nollywood is just about adults. What about the young children who you're grooming to become the next Nollywood stars? So and the next Nollywood directors. So I'm really looking for African children who can either fly to Jamaica and take part in February, or B, submit their films. Where are they? Where do you even go? Because all you know about is Nollywood adult space. You see what I mean? So we need to start linking hands like this. South Africa and Jamaica are doing a great job of it. A great job. We have so many good linkages with South Africa. I would love to have better linkages, especially in the film industry, with Nigeria. How do we go about it? I don't know. But yes, I'm open.
Okay, see, you were talking about be burnt before and still be on the game, no? And that is important. Okay, now, Dr. Ava, there are other people like you who will say, okay, I would never try it again. Let me just better deal with other people rather than African people because, oh, they have hurt me before and all that. Maybe the person that is saying it is, I've tried it only once because it's an African. Oh, African people cannot be trusted. So let me better trust the Europeans so they will take care of me, you know? I wanted to speak to those individuals.
I'm going to speak from it in for both spaces because I have had that feeling. I'm going to be very frank with you. For example, love and relationship. I love African men. I do, but I would never date another one. I could never marry another one. And even saying it for me is uncomfortable because I actually love African men. And I don't see Caucasian men generally. But lately I've started to look like maybe I should marry a Caucasian, purely because of how badly burnt I was from my ex-husband. You know, that guy really did me badly. I have a child with him now, his first son, that he doesn't even give a penny in the last 2 years to. And that's hard. And my son doesn't want to see his father. He's not interested. But I leave the door open because that's his father. And as an African man, that's your first son, your first child. It is supposed to mean something. And that's hurtful. But I've also said to you that when I engage with Africans, I'm careful and I do due diligence. And you can never, and it doesn't mean that only Africans, because that's not fair. But there's a propensity for you to get easier burnt when you do business with Africans. And that's the truth. It's happened. And I'm in a group on Facebook that I'm admin for. You probably don't know this. And the conversations we had in there recently, last weekend, it was, and this is repats and expats. We're talking about pure foreigners from the diaspora. So we're talking about people from America, United Kingdom, Europe, and North America who are moving to Jamaica or have moved to Jamaica. And I'm an admin for the group. And the conversations in there come up just the same that we're having here. And it's painful to see. But I really think that if all of us start saying we're not going to do it, then we're never going to change the narrative. And so I cannot give up on my people. I cannot. It's not possible. And so I proceed more with caution, but I can't give up on my people because if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? And so I have to think about it from that perspective that I cannot. It's like my people are like my children. My children give me stress and wahala, but I can't give up on them. They are mine. They're part of my flesh, part of my rib, part of my bone. They're my DNA. And the same way I see African and the diaspora, we're all one people, just don't know how to find our way back together. And this is why I detest slavery. At the same time, I like some things that out of slavery we become. And I don't mean that in a bad way, so don't get it wrong. Because of slavery, I have a Caribbean culture. It's great. I love it. Because of slavery, we've gotten, I suppose, to be on different parts of the continent to a point. But at the same time, it's dispersed us, separated us, it's segregated us. And it also even put the superiority and inferiority complex. Because I think I said on my last podcast that some Nigerians and some Africans think that we are slave babies. And similarly, some Caribbean people don't think they're Africans. So I really think that, yes, there are some of us who would have gone to the European to do business, having tried our own and it doesn't work. I want to speak to those people. I want to speak to those who are impacting the few people who are making it bad for the diaspora. I want to say to those who have stepped out of our race and start doing business with the Caucasian, I understand. I get it. If I sit here and say I don't understand it, I'll be telling you a lie. At the same time, I'm saying that 12 people or 13 people should not, or 1,000 people or 1 million people should not determine the rest of Africa or the rest of the diaspora. Do your due diligence properly. Try to find better connections, put systems in place, legalities, and hold people accountable. Visit the person you're trying to work with. Go and see their environment, trying to understand. For those, and don't give up on your people, for those who are making it bad, I want to speak to you. You are standing in the way of generational wealth. You're standing in the way of the unification of the African that Bob Marley speaks about. And you are destroying and damaging the diaspora's image, but also the opportunities for the innocent and decent people from the diaspora who have got integrity. And you need to stop. You need to stop, because if you continue like this, you're going to continue to erode the hard work that those who have gone before us have done and those who are on the battlefield now are doing. And you're making it harder for us to collaborate, to be coherent, to work together and to trust each other. And so I'm appealing to you to stop. You're destroying your own. Would you destroy your own children? Because essentially that's what you're doing. And if your answer is yes, then go ahead. But if the answer is no, please stop. Find decent and honest ways to do business, and let us form bridges across the globe. Thank you. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. There is nothing really to add to that at all. You see, why this conversation is important is that if you are living in the diaspora and everywhere you go, you will see the spirit of entrepreneurship really springing up everywhere among the African people. That they want to survive. They want to be able to participate. But so that it's not easy for them, because everybody is doing their own little small country, their own small little community within themselves as individual. This is not really moving up forward, but it doesn't mean that we don't have the zeal to be able to do things. Yesterday, I was in the Nigerian embassy in Rome because I went to renew my passport with my family. There, I could see people organizing businesses within, everywhere there, bringing food, people doing passport, taking your passport because they need it for the document. It is in our nature to do it, to render a service to other people to survive. So to conclude it, Dr. Ava, what would you say in terms of the potential we have in the diaspora?
I would like to say that we have so much opportunities. Like, there is so much. Like, we know it's not true. We know, you and I know, and the audience know that the impression and the vision and the images they perpetually throw across I get so pissed off as somebody who's been to Africa. I mean, I'm not one of the Black people from the Caribbean who's just talking about Africa. I've been to Africa. I love Africa. As a matter of fact, I have Ghana is coming to exhibit at my film festival next year. I just got the message yesterday. So a Ghana tour company is coming to exhibit, because that's, again, cross linkages. And that's beautiful. And I would love a Nigerian to come to my film festival and open, and if nobody does it, I'm going to try to do it. I don't know how to get the fabric. And open a Nigerian and African print shop where you sell fabrics. I think that would be so beautiful. So I'm putting that out there. If somebody wants to come and bring their fabrics to come to Jamaica, to come and sell and open a shop, that would be just beautiful at the festival. But I just want to say that if I hate the images that they throw across the TV about this famine in this country and project Africa as this place that is lost. And it's so upsetting. And you and I know why they do it, because they're afraid. But if we were to just literally get together and be united, and yes, we're going to have challenges and we're going to fight, because although I'm Black, we're culturally different. Nigerian culture is different from Togo culture, and Togo is different from, let's say, Uganda. And if we're all to come together and we were to just, Madagascar, actually. Madagascar is Africa, yes. If we're all to come together, and we were to just unite and fish out and flesh out and work on our challenges of commonality, language, trust, barriers, and we just start a movement. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. We know the richest continent on the world is Africa. We know that. But it's not been manifested amongst everybody. If we were to unite as a people and more of us were to go back to where we're from. So in North America, the African diaspora go back to Africa or come to a Black country. The Caribbeans come back to the Caribbean. If we were to do that and start building, oh my God, Jesus, let me tell you something. You would have the real housewives of the African diaspora, full stop, because we would be a force to reckon with. And that's my take. It's for us to pause, put our feet on the brake right now, take a moment to stop and realizing that we're hurting each other, we're robbing each other, and let us come together so that we can push the needle forward more effectively and create the legacy that we want our grandchildren to have. Because within us, we're some of the brightest people on the whole bloody planet. We're some of the brightest. We have 13-year-old Black children having PhDs and master's degrees. The Mensa children are within our communities. So we need to pause, link our hands, gingerly as it may sometimes. Be like me, still continue. Don't give up. I get burned and I still try because I can't give up on my people. So don't give up on your people today. Let us build bridges. Let us start partnerships and open to proper conversations. Because I think if we start I want to see airlines coming from Nigeria to Jamaica. I want to take people from Jamaica to Nigeria. I want to create those linkages. And that's my final piece.
Thank you so much for that. And that is really encouraging. We never should give up on ourselves because we're talking of ourselves, not doing it for some people. No, it is for ourselves. No one give up on himself, you know. You see people, they are dying. They still continue to struggle to be alive. That is what it's all about. Let's continue to struggle to be alive. Somebody might wrong you. I can't tell you that nobody have wronged me. Of course, people have wronged me. It doesn't matter. Okay. What about other people that have done good for me? I'm not here all by myself alone. I am here through a channel, thanks to the goodness of the community of many, many people. So I can't simply say, okay, now some person have wronged me, so I just throw away the entire community so that I want to become who I'm not. I am not an Italian. I live in Italy, but I'm not an Italian. I'm a Nigerian. I must know that. I am not a European. I am an African in Europe. I must know that when I'm doing business, I must look for a way that business should benefit another African. Because that is my community. Yes. It is not selfishness. Yes. It is just normal.